Calvary.
Greetings, everyone. Pastor Penina Simwe. Today, I'll be taking you on the great journey to find self, or you can say the journey to self-discovery. This content is based on a long-awaited book of realities of spirituality. This journey is going to be a place of learning, a place of unlearning, and a place of relearning, because what the world has offered is quite contrary to what God has offered according to our basis of faith, which is the Word. And also, man has neglected his responsibility on this quest to find self, which is a bad thing, because one thing I know is salvation is a place of self-discovery. It disqualifies routines, it disqualifies what we have known, main mediation, the vain philosophy that has been presented, and it comes back to the attention of you have a part to play. There are various topics we have prepared for you on this great journey of finding self. These questions are challengers. These are questions we have asked ourselves consciously, unconsciously. And because of the uncertainty of what has been presented as truth, we have found ourselves on this journey, but the recurring cycles, the stagnation, the things we have critically questioned because of unsatisfaction by what has been presented, by the confines of our human nature. Man has discovered everything else save himself, and that is a great place to start. This is a question every man has asked: who am I? You see, when one questions that, it means they are unsatisfied, they are perplexed, what has been presented is not satisfactory. And that is where we are going to take you through in this great journey of finding self. Well, the second topic I'll be taking you through is what has the world offered in the quest to find self. You know, the world has offered a lot of things. And when we look at the philosophical part, when we look at the scientific part, when we look at the religious part, they have done their part to explain who man is. But still, there is this bit of unsatisfaction to what has been presented. And this has brought us to what has the world offered? Because what the world has offered highly influences our perception regarding this great journey of salvation. And the third topic we are going to take you through is what is man's responsibility in all this? Because we have done the blame game that let the church do its part, let God do his part, let the word do its part, let the world do its part. What part have you played in this great journey of finding self? Because you are the key to your deliverance. Truth can be presented. The world can do its part. God can do his part. But unless you come to the place of repentance and you acknowledge what has been presented and allow to go through a process, then there will never be change. Remember, it is important for man to know truth regarding his existence. This will enable him live the fullness of who he is. The second thing you should note, the center approach of this broadcast, of this podcast, of this information we are giving is to spiritualize everything regarding man's existence. Content we are giving you is to bring you to a place that man has become a revealer of the fullness of the Godhead bodily. This is outside routines. This is outside what he has known. This is outside what has been presented, because the philosophical picture, the scientific picture, the religious picture has not really done a big part. If we come back to the basis of the word, and you shall know the truth. Now, let's think of man beyond human terms. What is the mind of God concerning man? Because that is something we have neglected as men, and we have tried to describe ourselves within the human nature. Let's think beyond that, because in the fullness of time, God exhibited who man is. And this is in John 1:14. He says, "And the word became flesh and dwelt among us. We beheld his glory, the glory of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth." That is where God put on flesh to reveal to man who he is, what is his identity, who he ought to be, and the fullness of him. If man neglects that, then we'll never come to a point of self-discovery. Knowing God is self-discovery, but also salvation is self-discovery. So when we wrap these things up, we understand what God has communicated from the beginning of time, that actually man is beyond human terms. I'll take you back to the beginning of Genesis 1:26, where God says, let us make man in our image, after our likeness. If God is spirit, he is the perfect mirror from which man ought to reflect from. Which means if we are to talk about man on this great journey, we are going to look at a man who is spirit. Get ready to unlearn. Get ready to know truth, contrary to what you have been told. Note this, man understood himself exclusively within the confines of his human nature, apart from his spiritual being, which limited his output. So, get to learn what God has said about you, your situation, contrary to how the world has presented it to you, how circumstances have described you, how even people have described you. It is a sad thing to know yourself less than who you are. By the way, if you want to get yourself a copy of this book, follow the links down. Those that would love to partner with the ministry, to partner with this book, please follow the links down. It's Pastor Penina Simwe. I love you all. God bless you.